So we're excited about today. Grant, you pumped up about Flips Part 2.0, man?
I am pumped up, as Arnold Schwarzenegger would say.
I am too, man. This is a little strategy that not a lot of Amazon sellers use, and I think that's why I'm excited about it. There's a lot of people that chase the RA OA, and this is kind of a little sliver of OA that very few sellers do effectively. We're going to teach you guys exactly today how to use Keepa.com to source your own Amazon to Amazon flips. So I want to preface this. We have never taught this information publicly ever in any of our groups, specifically how to do this. We're actually going to hand you the keys for those of you that have a lot of time on your hands and you want to turn that time into some extra leads. So there's 7 steps that we've broken down. We're going to go through that today, and then we're going to get into some live sourcing, and I'll share that real quick on our agenda for today. So first thing, like we just talked about, we're going to go through the 7 steps to using Keepa.com. I'm going to show you the steps on slides, and then we're actually going to jump into a live feed, and we're going to go live on Keepa and show you guys how to do this on your own. For those of you do-it-yourselfers. Second thing we're going to do is we're going to show you a shortcut today. We're also going to jump live into our new OA Cheddar Flips group. Now, we let the cat out of the bag on the last week's webinar. So some of you guys are going to be hearing this for the first time today. If you want a shortcut and you want to save 10 to 15 hours a week, probably conservatively or more, we've got a new system we're excited to share with you guys. And right up front, okay, part of the reason we're doing this webinar training series, we want to pre-train you guys, because I know a lot of you have been asking for training in the group. How do you source and build your business? We were going to do training anyways for the Flips group. We said, hey, wouldn't it be cool? Let's just do the training rather than just doing it for people that are in the Flips group. Let's do it for everybody in OA Cheddar so we can educate all of you. And our goal and intention today is that you'll learn some things and sharpen the saw, as they say, so that you can be more efficient in your online sourcing. And let me just say this, Grant, right up front. One of the reasons I'm excited about Flips is it's one of the few OA strategies that you can do from your mobile phone. Yeah. Okay. I want you guys to hear this. If you're like the kind of person where you like get a little sick and tired of sitting at your computer all day, looking at spreadsheets and stuff, if that's one of the reasons, and a lot of you I know subscribe to Cheddar because you hate doing the research part, this is a strategy you can do from your phone. So we're going to show you guys how to do that in a few minutes here. So just to start off, Grant, I don't have any slides for who I am and who you are. Gabe Strom, Chicago, Illinois. Grant Dunn from East Wenatchee, Washington, my partner across the screen. Both of us are 7-figure sellers. Grant's done it the traditional way in retail arbitrage, online arbitrage. How many years have you been selling online, Grant?
I think, well, on Amazon, I think we're about 5 years now.
Amazon coming up on your 5th Q4. And myself, I've done it with publishing and different systems and things on the internet. So glad to have you here. For those of you that missed last week's webinar, I'm going to take just 2 minutes right quick up front and kind of educate you on the basics of flips. So what are Amazon to Amazon flips? Very simple. These are heavily discounted inventory that you can purchase from Amazon.com with a non-Prime account. And we're going to talk about that, and then resell back on Amazon. Okay, so you're buying from Amazon, selling to Amazon. And that leads to a second question that I realize a lot of you may be thinking is, okay, so if you're buying, how are flips different than our traditional OA Cheddar leads? And this question has come up in private conversations, so we thought we'd address it right up front and make it simple. Okay, first thing is you're sourcing directly from Amazon instead of third-party retailers. So traditional OA Cheddar, we source from 500 plus different sources. We have a team of 15 now that's sourcing leads for you guys from sources all across the internet. That's what their full-time job is scouring the internet, running through spreadsheets, running through multiple layers of software, filtering, refining to deliver you guys the final product, which is OA Cheddar. So that's leads that are coming from off of Amazon that we're bringing to the Amazon platform. Okay, flips, you're buying from Amazon, selling on Amazon. Number 2, Amazon, one of the other ways they're different is that Amazon sets quantity limits. So typically 3 to 5 units, sometimes even less. I've seen 1, 2, 3 units sometimes per customer. So this strategy is a little different in that you're going wide. Okay, you're casting a very wide net. And the benefit to you as a seller is that you're getting access to inventory that a lot of other sellers are not getting access to. We're going to talk more about that. Okay, third thing that makes them different, Grant, and this is just putting everything right up front, is the categories. And flips, we have found, we've been testing that the categories we're able to find flips the most successful in are shoes, clothing, jewelry, and occasionally other categories. We have some rugs and different things that pop up, but primarily, Grant, I think it's safe to say 80% of our inventory that we're finding right now is shoes, clothing, and jewelry. So this is also a pro. If you're ungated in shoes and clothing and jewelry, you're going to love this. If you are gated in those categories, it's going to be frustrating for you until you get ungated. So it's another reason to get ungated in these categories. And I guess it depends on which side of the fence you are as to if that's good or not. So that's what makes them different. Grant, anything you would add, man, to what separates the new Flips leads from our traditional OA Cheddar leads?
I think just the delivery method would be a big one.
Yeah.
Right. We're delivering through a live feed on a Facebook group. So you want to set up your notifications, stuff like that. Whereas our Cheddar leads are delivered via sheets and by email.
Yeah, good call. We haven't talked about, we'll get into that today too. So it's real-time leads. So we're delivering them through a group rather than email. So that is a difference as well. Hey, as we're going through this, man, I've got the slides up. Can you pull up the chat and just kind of like feed me any questions that may come up as we go?
Yes, I got that up.
So let's talk quickly, G, the benefits to Amazon Flips. And we just kind of hit on a couple of these. We'll go through these pretty quickly. We covered them last week as well, but we want to highlight this because this is some of what makes Flips different. And a lot of you don't realize this. So first one is IP claim defense. You're going to, in fact, Grant, do you want to just go through these real quick if I thumb through them? Sure.
Yeah. So IP claim defense, obvious reason is Amazon's creating these listings. You're buying directly from Amazon. So if a manufacturer, makes a claim against you, it should be easier for you to get that IP claim removed from your account, or at least defend yourself against it, because you didn't create the listing, Amazon did. And there's probably a pretty good chance that Amazon has permission to use those images. So
Cool.
you're still going to get claims, but you can defend yourself. Counterfeit complaint defense, kind of the same theory, right? You're buying product from Amazon. Amazon's a credible source. Amazon is also where you're selling your product. So if a customer wants to make a complaint or file some sort of claim that you are selling fakes, you can prove your authenticity, and that will protect your seller account. Lift your AOV, or average order value. Some people would look at this as your selling price per unit. And the traditional kind of rule of thumb is you want to be $35 or higher. That's kind of like the prime position, selling point or price per unit to be selling stuff, because you generally make a little profit per unit, a little bit more ROI in general, because you're getting the same pick and pack fees, fulfillment fees against a larger item, more expensive item. So there's usually some more meat on the bone for profit.
So more meat on the bone, safer product, more meat on the bone. Same thing, increase your profit per sale. So you're looking at a high, these are juicier leads typically than, it's not uncommon. I'm looking at the Flip leads to see 20, 25, $30, 35 plus on some of these.
Right.
And there's a different strategy, but juicier leads, untapped by the masses. Grant, why do you think that most OA sellers don't know about Flips? Why aren't more people doing
I think it's just not a traditional method. I think it's also extremely time consuming.
Yep.
And it's not as sexy as the really fast selling, for some sellers, it's not as sexy as the really fast selling items. Like we talked about, it's clothing, shoes, and jewelry. So that's a variation category. And I think a lot of newer sellers are kind of intimidated by that because they don't understand how to read Keepa. We depend so much on Keepa for our data, but when you're looking at variations, it's a different type of analysis that you need to be able to understand. And so I think that newer sellers just avoid it altogether because they don't know what they're looking at.
Okay. So a lot of, it's people that don't fully understand it just don't do it. So there's an opportunity there. When I always love when the masses are going one way, I always love to go the other way. And that's why Flips, it's a niche strategy, and we'll go through this today. On the go, it's one of my favorite things that I love about it, Grant. I'm a lifestyle guy. Like everything we do in our business is about geared towards lifestyle. So you can do this on the go. You don't have to sit down in front of your computer. You can literally, and we'll show you guys how to do this, set up a separate, this is one of the keys, set up a separate buyer's account, and then you can make these purchases in the group. You can get a notification, and then right on the spot, we've had members private message us say that they find leads so good they stop and pull over the car to sit down and do their buying, which I think is hilarious. And that just goes to show you some of the feedback we've been getting. So mobile, we talked about this briefly, Grant, big fishing net. So you're able to cast a wide net with this strategy. Oftentimes it's 1 to 2 units. Amazon lets you purchase sometimes 3 to 5. It's not that many. So you're talking very shallow, and you're going wide with your product. So it gives you access to other inventory that other sellers don't have. And Grant, probably your favorite part as a 7-figure seller. You guys do what you guys do, like 100, 110. What have you guys been averaging the past couple months?
We're averaging about 100 to 110,000 a month in sales.
And then what's your inventory budget look like each month?
We're spending roughly $45,000 to $50,000 a month on inventory. Probably about $45,000 a month.
Okay. So the question came up last week, what's a big seller? Really, I mean, anybody who's in the process of scaling, once you've got proof of concept of online and retail arbitrage, you scale. That's what you guys are doing. So for sellers that have a bigger budget, you can quench your thirst, your inventory thirst with this. And you can, if you're a systems guy, like our friend Ralph Cochran, you can, this is a big tip before we move on, you can hire a VA or a sourcing agent to do this strategy for you. So even I encourage you to watch this webinar to learn the training. And then this is something that you could actually turn over and have one of your sourcing agents use in conjunction with our new sourcing list we're going to talk about. And you could theoretically be hands off with this type of system if you set that up right. So these are the benefits. Grant, since we don't have a slide on the cons, this is different. Do you mind real quick? What are the big, when I say cons, like things to be aware of? Is it, what do you look at with flips?
You're going to see slower moving inventory. Right,
okay.
You're going to be going shallow, and that's part of the reason why you want to go shallow. Is it's slower moving inventory, and let me pull up the cons list. Actually, I should have had that open already. I just didn't include the slide because I want to get through this. So it's we talked about this in the previous one. I just want to go through it. So when you say slower turning, I mean you guys turn your store really fast, like 30 to 45 days. So how much slower have you seen Amazon flips? I mean, I think the big reason is you're competing against Amazon, right? It's because like I sell a lot of clothing and shoes. I don't always compete against Amazon. So I have slower moving inventory in my store because a lot of it is clothing and shoes. With competing against Amazon, they're taking a majority of the buy box percentage. So you're going to be kind of competing with them. But I think that's a lot where to kind of defend against that, you should be looking at the margin of profit that you have when you're buying a flip and determining if there's enough margin for you to actually aggressively compete against Amazon.
Okay.
Because it's one thing when you're competing against Amazon and their normal selling price is going to net you $4. But if you can compete against Amazon and based on their normal selling price, you have $20, well, now you have room to drop the price and get aggressive. And you'll actually see that in the graph sometimes too, where other third-party sellers are dropping their price. I actually don't have the other slides up for whatever. No,
that's good. I just wanted to hit on, at a high level, we like to tell you guys the good, the bad, the ugly with this stuff. So, one of the reasons one of the main reasons sellers don't do this is you are competing directly with Amazon. You're only doing it with a handful of units, so 1 to 5 units. So your risk is still relatively low because you've got SKUs across the board. And we're going to show you how to mitigate that too. And that's the benefit of the list. It'll help speed that up for you as well. So Grant, I think the Venti is showing here. I'm hyped up, man. So we do want to share a warning with you guys, full disclaimer, and we did this on the last webinar. It's only fair if we're teaching flip training. There's a right and a wrong way to do this. Do not, under any circumstance, purchase Amazon flips from any account with Prime benefits. That means any Prime account that you buy so any retail Prime account. It's against Amazon's terms of service, and it may put your account at risk. Okay, so this is a very important key. What you want to do is set up a separate non-buyer's business account. We recommend a business account. I guess technically it could be a non-business account. But set up a separate buyer's account that is not Prime, so do not register for Prime, and use that second account to purchase the inventory that you'll be selling on your seller's account. So you'll basically have 2 accounts, one for buying, one for selling. We want to throw that out there because this is a big, doing it the other way can put your account at risk, and we don't want to see that happen, you guys. So we did our deed, Grant. All right, G, I'll let you go through this, man, real quick. We've got 7 keys here. I'll let you walk through the strategy, and then we'll flip the screen over to you and let you go through it. So step 1, you pull up the old Keepa.com, which some of you guys should be very familiar with. They've got a little Chrome plugin, Grant, that we would recommend everybody download to get this data online. So that's step number 1 in this. If you guys want to write this down, this would be the time to take notes. We'll go through these 7 steps, and then, like I said, we'll show you examples. So step number 2, G, I'll let you go through, man.
Yeah, so you just select the deals, right? And then make sure that you're looking at Amazon deals. You want to find stuff that Amazon is discounting because you don't want to buy from third-party sellers.
So top left-hand corner, click on deals, and then choose only Amazon deals. Okay, step 3.
And then step 3 is change the following filters. You're going to want to actually, I have this week is highlighted, but we're actually mostly sourcing by day. And then if you want to go a little deeper and look at maybe some older flips, you can look at the stuff that has dropped within the last week. Okay. And then you just look at these other parameters, right? We're looking at sales ranges, the drop percent range. So how big of a drop do you want? We want to see a minimum of a 30% drop in price to be able to hopefully surface out a profit. And then the drop range, we want to see a $15 drop. Sometimes you can go do a $10 drop. It really depends, but $15 is kind of a good minimum there. And then price range, wide open. Let's just see it all. And then you can also, our techs aren't necessarily for the min rank and the max rank, depending on the category. Like for example, like in sports and outdoors and stuff, you might want to be looking at like a 300,000 rank or lower. So you don't have to use 100,000 rank. That's kind of you're going to surface kind of the faster moving inventory if you do that.
Okay.
And then I like to see flips that have at least a 4-star. Doesn't mean that there's not good flips within a 3-star, but again, you can just use that minimum rating to kind of narrow down some of the better flips.
So these are the filters. You ran through that quick. We'll go through and show you guys in the live example. This is how we set up our Cheddar flips to start the filter process. Then obviously you got to look through them manually and refine them more. So that's step 3. Yep. Step 4, you select a category. So how are you refining the category?
Yeah, so we don't want to look at adult items. You can imagine what that is. We filter those out. Everything else we're willing to look at. And then we want to see percentages drop by percentage. There's other ways to use this tool that we're not really exploring a whole lot, or I'm sure my team probably does, but I personally haven't. But these are the settings that I'm using and kind of the baseline for flips. Okay,
cool. So no adult items for just because we've chosen not to do that.
Yeah, we just
that's actually a very lucrative market for anybody that wants to. I don't do it. Grant, do you do any of that stuff?
No, we avoid it. Maybe like, rubbers, right? If I find
I don't know. I just don't, you got kids running around your warehouse and stuff. You just don't want your kid picking up some of this stuff and be like, Dad, what's that? What's that? Oh, that's just, I don't have to explain.
I have sold my fair share of Durex. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. Hey, bras and unmentionables, no problem though, right? That's fair game.
Right.
All right. So we just filter out that, and then percentage drop. You're sorting it, highest drop to least, basically, to put the juicy stuff up front.
Yes. Yep. Exactly.
Okay. So step 5. Now this is where it gets a little techie. So walk me through. You've pulled it up. Walk me through step 5.
Yeah. It's and I'll be able to show this to you guys. But essentially, once you set your parameters, you ran a search on a particular category, you just start opening tabs up, because you're not going to really know anything about that flip until you've opened it up into a full Keepa graph and analyzed. So that's essentially what you're going to do. Like I'll go through, when I'm practicing flips, I'll go through and open like 20 leads at a time. And then I'll just start eliminating. Then you just go through one by one and make a quick look. You're within 5 seconds, hopefully you can either eliminate it. If you're looking at it beyond 5 seconds, then there's a chance that you might be going into step 6 with it, which we can talk about.
So you pull open a bunch of leads on a bunch of different tabs in your computer, and then you're going through the Keepa graphs is where we're living. So you'll walk through how to analyze that. And that leads us to, and you're going to start to make a decision there. If you're not sure, do you look at every lead also on Amazon, Grant?
Yeah. So anything I don't eliminate from step 5, I want to go through step 6, and I'll have Rev Seller open and the calculator and just kind of start playing with the Keepa graph, doing some deeper analysis. Like again, maybe looking at it like on a full year basis. What has this product done? Stuff like that. So this is really kind of where the rubber meets the road, because you can also dig into different variations and stuff like that to determine if there's even more variations you might want to buy also.
Okay, so you're living in the Keepa graphs in step 5, and step 6 you're looking at the Rev Seller graphs on Amazon. So those are 2 tools we recommend you guys have installed to look at this data from a couple different ways. And then step 7 is you make a decision. Right, Grant? So you do the research, and then you decide to pass or purchase. And I'm curious, I know when you're looking at a product, Grant, I'm curious, are you looking for reasons to disqualify inventory, or are you looking for reasons to qualify inventory when you guys source?
Yeah, always want to approach it from how can I eliminate this from, how does this not fit my agenda or fit my goals?
Right.
If you do it the other way, you're going to end up compromising your goals, compromising your plan of attack. So definitely want to try to disqualify stuff, and then have a product force you to buy it, right? Like this, it's screaming at you. I can't get away from you. I have to buy this. I'm an idiot if I don't. That kind of thing. And again, I will tell you that these are a different animal, right? This is not traditional OA. So you have to treat flips as a different type of system, right? So you just can't confuse them and treat them the same way.
Yeah, it's a different think, and that's one of the reasons we want to do this training for you guys, to help you get in the right mindset to do flips. So we thank you for answering that, because I think that's key. A lot of sellers, especially new sellers, will look for why to buy something, because you're maybe gated in a lot of stuff and you're trying to find inventory. Don't do that. I recommend, like Grant says, look for why not to buy something. Look to discredit things. Be a skeptic when it comes to sourcing. And like Grant said, pull up 20 tabs on your computer and then say, nope, yes, nope, and find the ones that fit your criteria. You'll find better inventory that way. And, assuming you have a certain budget. Now, some of you have an unlimited budget. There's probably a little different strategy. We know sellers that go extreme, like $10 million plus sellers that go very wide, and their criteria is a lot less strict than, for example, yours, Grant. But it's different strategies for different places in the game. If you don't have an unlimited budget, look for reasons to discredit inventory. It'll serve you, and you'll find really juicy stuff and maximize your budget on what you have to spend. So, Grant, you guys got 55,000 a month that you guys spend on inventory. You want to be for sure that you're putting that in the right place. So these are the 7 steps. It may seem simple. There is some hard work involved in harvesting these. I mean, you could sit literally on your computer for probably half the day looking through this stuff. So for those of you that want to write this stuff down, or if you want to take a screenshot of this or a picture on your phone, we decided to put all these 7 in one place. You're welcome. I know there's some like really analytical people in the group, and you just like to see that all in one place. And you can use this to go back and pull this up as you go through this. And our goal today was to teach you the strategy. And then we want to show you guys an easy way to do this. And this is literally the strategy that our team is using. We have full-time staff members now dedicated to harvesting only flips for you guys. It's a different system. So we hired people to specifically only do flips. And they're doing this basically every single day, Grant, Monday through Friday, sometimes on the weekends too, I've been noticing.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. We're crushing it on the weekends too.
That's a little perk that's coming up. So, well, gee, that's the 7 steps. So I'm curious, though, to see this in action, and it's helpful for those of you that are visual learners. We want to just kind of go offline and show you how to source this. So we want to jump over to Keepa.
All right.
Look at this.
I will be looking over here as I do this.
Bibbity boom. Now I'll be in chat and you drive the ship. All right.
You can see everything you need to see then. All right. So we're looking at Keepa. Obviously, we've selected deals. We'll just go through the 7 or the different metrics you want to kind of play with. So we're looking at Amazon flips. We're going to look at the day, right? If we want to go deeper, we can look at the week, but we'll start with day. 30% to 100% price drop. Obviously, this is a pipe dream, but you never know. I've actually set this to 10 to 100. It really just depends on how you're feeling for the day and how you want to experiment.
Okay.
The price range, you'll just go full range 5 to 15. You might change this to 10. It really doesn't matter. Just you can play with it and fiddle with it and see what you like. And I've got my rank set. Again, you can be a little bit more flexible on this and go with up to 100,000 or 300,000 or more if you prefer. But we'll do 100,000 today just to reduce some of the results.
Okay.
And we're going to filter out adult items and sort by percentage. All right. That's what we're going to do. And then we're going to select a category. We'll just start with shoes, clothing, and jewelry. Again, we got, there's obviously a ton of categories. Automotive is kind of a general one where you might see some flips. We've been finding some flips in home, health and household, home and kitchen a little bit. Sports and outdoors, we found some flips. But again, this is the primary category. Essentially, I'm just going to center click on my mouse, right, to open up these.
So you're not even judging these. You're just going to go through the first page and pull. Yeah. How many do you pull up? I'm
going to just open up like 3 rows worth. That's 15 different leads to look at. Now, the cool thing. There. Yeah, me too. Yeah, we got.
Yeah, real quick. Just out of curiosity, as a seller, what draws to your eye just at a first glance? What types of products on this page?
The shoes, the jackets. You can't really be biased.
I'm just curious from your.
I like cleats.
You've got intuition. So I'm just curious.
Yeah, I like cleats, shoes. A lot of you'll see a lot of open toe and kind of summer shoes right now are turning into flips. I think it's just kind of the close of the season, the opening of the cold season. These are the types of shoes you're going to start to see right now. Bathing suits are kind of popular right now with flips, for obvious reasons. It's starting to cool off, and I think that's a good reference on why is Amazon dropping these prices. They have their reasons. They're trying to move inventory out so they can buy some other stuff. I imagine these suits are pretty expensive. That kind of scares me a little bit, really expensive items, because, again, the more expensive the item, the more risk you're taking. Yeah. Something can go wrong. But yeah,
I kind of thought the same thing too. The suits is such a specialty thing. Just as a man, that's something you got to get fitted for. But the jeans, the shoes, the flip flops, the bathing suits, a lot of this stuff I'd be curious about. So I'm glad you brought that up. Like, why does Amazon discounting these products? And we talked about it on the last webinar. And just to rehash what you said, Grant, like we don't know exactly. There's different reasons that it triggers their algorithm. One of them is seasonal for sure.
Right.
Certain, like whatever type of cleats these are. I mean, we're going into, so this is fall. It actually is football season, but a lot of kids are back. They've been playing football since the summer. So maybe it's the end of, cleat season going into basketball season and et cetera. So different reasons. We don't judge why. I was just curious, Grant, but you don't judge this page. You go through, you're going to open up like 10 of these things and just go through and look at you're all about the Keepa graphs.
Right. Yeah. Just all about the Keepa graphs. And then, if you're starting to find that these Kenneth Cole jackets aren't working, or you're finding that there's a brand that, you're restricted on, you don't need to open it up and look at it at all. And the other cool thing that's pretty neat that makes, this job easier is you can see how once I've clicked on something, it grays it out. So that will prevent you in that same day from going back and reviewing the exact same item 2 or 3 times.
Right.
So you can refresh this throughout the day and you'll see stuff be populated that hasn't been grayed out yet. And those are the flips you want to look at later in the afternoon, for example.
Okay. Okay, cool. Well, let's go ahead and look at some of these. I'm curious. A lot of these were suits. I'd be curious how the suits compare to the other products too. But let's look at these.
So obviously, I'm just a quick analysis. I don't like the direction this is going. I want to see a graph that's going across and then dropping, right? I want to, because right now Amazon is clearly trying to figure out, well, what are we going to have to do to get this to sell?
This purple line is price.
Yeah, the yellow is Amazon, and then the purple line or the blue line is third-party offers.
Okay.
You can see where the third-party offer went out of stock. It appears maybe right there where the offer count dropped and the price went up. So it's possible that the third-party seller was the one drawing the price down, and Amazon was following them, and then they sold, and Amazon went back up, and then Amazon cut again. So
you don't like that this price is dropping. There's a reason. This is a liquidation situation. So so you disqualify it. So let's just go through and find out reasons why we would disqualify. So what's this one?
And with this one, I'm disqualifying because it's spending too much time at the price that I can buy it at, or a price near what I can buy it at.
Okay.
I don't like all that choppiness. Same with this one. So these jackets are kind of probably going to be a waste. We don't really want to mess with that kind of stuff. I'm just eliminating them real quick. Same thing. It's spending time at a price point at $99. Yeah, it went up to $400, but that's why we're seeing the drop.
That's why it got triggered.
Yeah, so you'll see a lot of this kind of junk.
Sometimes flips will show up in our search, not because the price dropped, but because Amazon raised the price so high, and then it's coming down again back to the regular price. So you want to be aware of those.
Yeah. So we'll just avoid these types of things. Okay, now here's something that looks relatively good. Okay. It's possible that this is a third-party offer moving the price down in order to move the inventory. They might have made a couple sales and raised their price. I don't see any movement in the offer count. This is really kind of the holy grail right here. Like if I can see, because you can't really depend on rank to determine whether this variation is selling. So I really jump down to the second graph, look at the offer count. If I can see fluctuations in this, that's going to indicate to me that third-party sellers are moving inventory. So I like this. I might open this up to Amazon, clicking this button here.
Okay.
Better, and do a deeper analysis on this lead. But first, I want to continue to eliminate everything I opened up. Okay. Then go back and do step 7. Okay. So here's a much better example of that same cleat. Okay. We're looking at the same cleat, men's free carbon. Okay. Here it is again. Size, probably. Different size. And for whatever reason, this is far more attractive, right? You're looking at the offer count changes. And you can see where the third parties are even going in and out of stock. This is super attractive to me, right? And the one thing I might check is I might take this, if I do go ahead and open this up, let's say this is just going a little deeper into your search. But one thing I might want to determine when I'm looking at a product like this is this item really a $90 shoe, or is it more like a $27 shoe, right? Mm-hmm. And the way to determine that is to run, you could highlight the name, for example, right click. And if you're using context menu search, you can just Google search it and then go see if it's selling on other third-party seller sites. I don't know, like just different shoe sellers. I'm not really familiar with a ton of them, of the different sites that do shoes. We will be figuring that out, by the way, where all the shoes and clothing are at outside of the Amazon flip space. But anyway, this is how you
looking for search.
Yeah,
looking for comps, basically.
Yeah, you want to look at comparables. Exactly.
Comparables. Okay. So we'll save that step. Let's just keep going through these then as a real quick test group, because you'll come back to this one.
Like for example, this flip would get published if we found this before the price went up, but you can see it already went back up, right?
So okay.
And
How long was this discounted? How long is that period?
So we're looking at 3 to 10. So we're looking at about a 4-hour window.
Okay. So when we say real time, one of the reasons we are publishing our new flip finds into a group is so you can set a post notification on your phone and be notified as soon as these come. We've had a lot of people in the new flips beta group that miss out on leads, and they like see it later. So you got to source these in real time. This isn't it's mobile. You can do it on your phone, but you got to have someone watching this stuff. It's not like a typical OA lead that you can come back to like in, a couple days or whatever and still source it. So, okay. So this one's interesting.
Now, something I would add to this, and this is how you guys can kind of be building your own database of flips and start getting notifications, is if you see a lead like this and you missed out on the opportunity, or even if you don't miss out on the opportunity, and you're able to buy it, regardless, you're going to want to track the product. Okay. You set your parameter, I want to be emailed when Amazon reaches, below $35, right? And you can kind of play with your calculator to determine exactly where you would want that to be at. But you want to set your tracking. That way, if you can see the price has gone back up. So if Amazon decides to drop the price a week from now, or 2 weeks from now, a month from now, you're going to get a notification via email to come back in here and purchase it before, it goes. Again, these windows are short, so you can set up an alert on your email and not miss out on the opportunity if it comes up again.
So any lead that you determine as a positive lead, you set an alert for that lead in case it comes back, in case it gets dropped again in the future?
Yes, our team is building a massive database of alerts. Massive.
Yeah. We'll talk more about that. All right, cool.
Yeah. So again, just not attractive. I don't like where Amazon's going with this, and then this whole funky,
the whole price. Anytime it's dropping, it's dropping down. You don't like
what this is showing me is I can't rely on Amazon to sell the price at a profitable point.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Same with, so this one's looking pretty good. I like the way this is looking. Again, it's another one of those Adidas Men Freak shoes, but you're watching the offer count drop. This is third-party sellers, most likely going out of stock. And then you can buy it $27. That's attractive.
So let me identify, go back just real quick right there. Like, so on this, you're looking at that bottom chart, there's two. So you're saying there's two sellers, two third-party sellers, 3 and then 2 and then 1. Yep. So let me address the elephant in the room. What happens like when we publish the list to the new flips beta and there's 55 sellers, what are we seeing happen to this? And how are you treating competition on flips like differently than normal OA?
Right. We haven't really seen what's going to happen. I think the fact that the window is so short, right? Yeah. And I think that the items are generally more expensive than your traditional OA, right? Most OA items on like Cheddar, you're buying for $10, $15. So people's budget goes further, right? Whereas on flips, you're going to buy one item and spend $27 or $40. Your budget doesn't go as far. So generally, everybody's not buying as many units, plus Amazon restricts it. And then with the short window opening and then closing again, right? I think that prevents competition from getting too fierce. But we haven't really, we have a lot of beta testers in there. I think when we get customers in there to really determine how things play out, we're going to obviously gain some more insight from that. And, if we have to adjust, we'll adjust, but I think generally what I've researched, what I've found and what I've seen is that flips don't generally get as saturated with competition as traditional online arbitrage. And here's why, guys. The masses aren't paying attention, right? Everybody's doing the traditional OA stuff. Everybody's buying Cheddar or they're buying from some other list provider. They're not watching flips, right? This is kind of a big league player game, right? These are where like Gabe mentioned it, the $10 million sellers. This is where they're spending their time, right? Or the $1 million sellers, right? They're kind of the few that are doing this, and we're now bringing it to our customers.
We're bringing it out. So sorry if you're one of those people, I guess, if we're letting the cat out of the bag. And if you're just learning this, congratulations. You guys are in the right place at the right time. Sure. We love to give you guys value and help serve you guys, help you guys find access to more inventory, which is, I know, why you're a part of our group. So, all right, cool, man. So, so this lead, it's sliding, but you like it. You're gonna probably look at that on Amazon. Then what's our last one here? This other
this is just another
same thing, again, different size.
This is probably my favorite of all of them. It's got
why is that?
Longest history with Amazon and just all kinds of movement all over the map.
Okay, you like the movement because that tells you that that's selling.
This is showing me velocity, right? It's showing me that out of all of the men's freak shoes that we looked at, this one probably is selling most out of the ones we looked at, based on the offer count movement.
This is a size 7 men. Is this a kid size?
I think this is just this is size adult shoe.
Yeah, 7 men. So there was like a 6.5. I don't know what the other sizes were, but that probably plays into it too. Shoes are, shoes are really niche thing. One thing I want to ask, I know this is in our Cheddar leads, but since shoes have a higher return rate, where are we getting the data for? And I forget how we publish it.
We do. We publish it in the post. This one I'm not seeing a fits as expected. Let me see if
fits as expected.
Yeah, there'll usually be a little section within.
We'll show this when we show the Cheddar leads. This is basically a ratio that shows you what percentage of the time the shoe or the product fits as expected. So if it's got a 75% fits as expected, that means that 25% of people are returning that item. So it gives you an idea of how risky. I mean, some of these shoes get real. I mean, you got to be aware of that. There is higher returns with this type of inventory with it fitting. So,
but I will tell you too that for the most part, your returns are going to get, depending on how your settings are. We let Amazon put stuff back in our store. I know that some people find that as a big risk. I haven't had a problem with it. We're very careful. We're very attentive to our account. But most stuff is going to get returned in the same condition that it was sold in. It's very rare that you get stuff damaged. That would be the real risk. Other than, just kind of and you have to get used to it with clothing and shoes. Your returns are going to go up.
Okay, there you are.
Yeah.
You were just freezing for a second there, but I'm tracking with you.
Okay, yeah. So, you just kind of have to get used to it if you're going to sell clothing and shoes, this is like the primary category for mega sellers, like doing retail arbitrage and arbitrage in general. You just kind of have to get used to it. You're going to see your returns, your return dollar go up. But again, most of that stuff can be resold as new anyway, and it'll eventually end up with a consumer taking it. But again, returns cost money. I get it. It's all part of the game.
Yeah, so it is higher returns. You're saying that it's not damaged. You can send that stuff back in and resell most of it. You guys are finding, but it's part of the game. If you're going to sell shoes and clothing, it's just part of the game. And you're being transparent. That's a big part of what you guys do. So if you guys want to be $1 million seller, find what $1 million sellers do and just do that. It's one way to get there. I'm not saying copy, exactly, but follow the breadcrumbs,
Yeah, and I'll tell you, as a clothing and shoes seller, I can tell you specifically, the stuff that does not sell on Amazon or can't be resold on Amazon is usually because like the tag was taken off of it, or they don't have the original box. And some people can rebox shoes, that's their prerogative, but maybe it doesn't have the original shoe box or something. We have a very successful liquidation store on eBay, right? Anything that is still in new condition, which is most of our stuff that we remove from Amazon. Anything that is still in sellable condition, but the box is damaged or it's missing the tag, we just list it as used like new on Amazon or on eBay, and it's appropriate. You're allowed to do that, and so we sell stuff without the original tags on it and stuff on eBay all the time. You're generally just capturing back your cost of goods. You're not really profitable, but
yeah. So it's not a risk. It's just another step you got to do. It's part of the business. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's, in the sake of time, we're doing like a speed round of sourcing through this. So let's just go, this is all step 6. I don't know if you want to just go through step 7, maybe look on this on Amazon and see which ones you've already kind of identified which ones you like.
Yeah. Let me actually, I'll very quickly eliminate, not talk too much about why I'm eliminating these following ones. I can run through real fast.
Cool.
Watch me eliminate stuff I don't like. So I'm just going to dump them, right? That'll keep. All right. Next one. I'm going to dump that one. Dump it.
So why are you dumping these? The price was tanking.
The price was tanking, but Amazon was spending too much time at a lower price, too close to my selling price. I want to see Amazon really hanging out at a very profitable point for me based on where I can buy it. If they're spending time close to where I can buy it today, in the past, that's just there's too much risk in that. I don't trust it.
Gotcha.
I like the way this one's looking. Other than the fact that it's flatlined at 2 offers, but there is profit potential in there. You might have to do a little more investigating. I don't like this one for the same reason. Amazon's just down. They're trying to figure out what to do with this. Same thing with that one. Maybe we'll take a closer look at that one. Same with that one. I'm dumping these ones. This one. This is a borderline one. This is like kind of right in between something where I would dump it for this behavior, but I like what I'm seeing over here, and I like that it looks like third-party sellers are moving out. But man, this is kind of right in the middle of where I would want to be. This one's all right. Another freak shoe. Same with that one. Again, just kind of a little funky business going on here, but you can see where Amazon went out of stock. The price goes up. Again, then Amazon comes back in. You know, this is kind of another maybe shoe. I would probably go look and try to see if I can determine why has Amazon been spending so much time at this $29.97 point. Are there other merchants on the online that are moving this shoe at $30?
Right.
Is it an old shoe? Looks like it's been on Amazon for 181 days. Are they just trying to get rid of it? Again, this is kind of a maybe because of this stuff here, but also I can buy it for 30. And no, this wouldn't work because
so if it's a maybe like this, I mean, there's two ways to do this. You can either investigate further, or if you're really being selective, if it's a maybe, can you just disqualify it sometimes if it's you have to think about it?
Again, because yeah, exactly. It's kind of the same concept you were saying before, like try to eliminate versus try to convince.
Yeah. So if it's a maybe, you're already questioning it. Don't talk yourself into it. Talk yourself out of it. So
right. Again, these are probably some unique flips where, somebody's experience with flips, they've been really paying a lot of time with this. You can see where they're selling this shoe at $90. And it's possible that this shoe, again, you go do a little more research, figure out what's going on with the New Balance shoe. Can I even sell New Balance? Let me find out. I think I can. Well, I'm not logged in, and I'm not going to either. Anyway, so yeah, but like I said, you could figure out maybe why. Where was I? Oh, that's all right. I went back over here. You might be able to do some research and determine why the Amazon's going out of stock on this shoe. It could be that there's limited supply.
I know you're not going to sign in. What are you using to determine if you're eligible to sell this on Amazon? If you're on Gate, are you using RevSeller's plugin, or how are you determining?
Yeah, I just use RevSeller's plugin, and then right here, just letting it refresh. This button will be green if I'm generally can sell it. Sometimes it'll be red and say restricted, but then when I go check, I'm actually approved to sell that variation.
So you want to anything that qualifies the 7 steps, you want to double check that to make sure you can sell it.
Make sure I'm approved to sell.
So that would be there. We'll have you signed in next time. I don't want to have you sign in with that live. So cool.
Again, I would eliminate this because of how much time is being spent at my price point. Same with this one, just too much time being spent at my price point. So knock those off. Then I'd go back to these ones that I hung on to and open them up and do some deeper research. So let's actually pick. I don't want to do the Adidas one because we already did that. Reebok shoe, we need to get rid of that. Let's see what we got other than, so the Adidas are kind of popular. We can look at this Dansko shoe real quick.
So while you're doing this, you're hanging out in steps 6 and 7. So 6 is researching the Keepa graph. 7, you're pulling it up on Amazon, looking at the RevSeller graph. You want to see, again, the history of this, what's been happening. That's your best guide to the future. And you want to make sure you're able to sell it on Amazon. So you want to double check that. So I'll give a quick plug in just a second. We're going to, if you guys, we've been doing this for 20 minutes here, and Grant's been going through, we're talking about it, so you'll be able to do this much faster. But imagine how much time you can spend each day. You could spend probably 4 to 6 hours a day pretty easily just combing through these leads. And we've built a system to help make this super easy for you guys with the new Cheddar flips. So I want to go through in a second. And once Grant pulls these up here, we'll do that in just a second. We'll show you guys the finished product the flip team is delivering for those of you guys that want the easy button shortcut method to doing flips, and you just don't want to have to sit there and go through all this stuff. Now, some of you're techie and you may enjoy this stuff. If you're like me and you just want the result and you want to think like a business owner and you just want the system and the result, then you're going to love the flips. It's going to save you a ton of time, just like the other Cheddar leads. So what are you going through here, Grant?
So I'm looking at the size. Am I on size? Yeah, I'm looking at size 10.5 and 11. And let's see here. There it is right there. Here's something interesting. So I'm just kind of doing some comparative analysis like we talked about. The question I'm asking is, what is this shoe really worth, right? You can see Amazon's been spending some time at $37.95. Should I worry about that, or can I depend on, rely on this product selling for a higher price, closer to the $90 price point that you see in the past? Okay, and you can see it's even sold at even a higher price, $150. So there's a couple ways I can kind of determine and do the comp like you talked about. One way is, doing a search real quick on this particular shoe and then going over to Google Shopping, and I'm looking and seeing, okay, well, what are other stores selling this shoe at? So maybe this is pretty close a matchup. You can see that, 50 from Nordstrom, I can get it for $59.98. Is it on sale, right? That's what I'd want to know. Amazon's 90, Outland USA 97, and 104 from Zappos. So I might go look over here and go, is this on sale? Yeah, it's 60% off. All right.
Okay.
So maybe this is why Amazon's playing around with their price, because Nordstrom's, selling this shoe on sale. So this tells me that the shoe really is worth $90 probably. Right. Another way I can do that comp, if I go back to the Amazon site, you can see I have RevSeller opened up and I've categorized it by low FBA. You can see that this size 10.5 and 11 is the only variation I can buy for $37.95. The next cheapest variation is $61.78, and then they're all 90 plus. So this is telling me this is a $90 shoe. Really good chance that I could buy it, put it into my store, or hold on to it, send it into my store later, and eventually sell it for around $90. This is a good flip, right? Does it have potential risk that maybe other flips may not? Yes, but what I'm noticing that I really like is all of this offer count movement. This is just telling me that the product's
got movement.
Yeah, it looks really good. So I like this flip. This would be a good one. I would consider buying it based on everything I just talked about.
So this is real time. When we sat down to do this search with you guys live, we didn't pre-populate the computer. So this is real time, just like you would search it. And Grant, we've been doing this for probably a half an hour, and you've just come through. I mean, this is like 20 different leads. So you'd be going through, our team literally goes through hundreds of flip leads a day, like constantly. We have them every like 2 hours just coming through the leads. So maybe let's pop back. So this is the 7 steps. I want to ask, we got a section for Q&A. Maybe if you want to go back to the slides here real quick. Jay has a question. What criteria do you use when judging variations?
Well, the criteria, I guess that's a loaded question. What I like to see, and I can go and look at one. Again, I'm judging the variation based off of the review count or the offer counts moving. That's showing me, fluctuations and velocity and third-party sellers moving inventory out. Mm-hmm. The more movement I see, the more attractive it looks to me. Right? Let me see if I can find what's really going.
Yeah, you're looking for a couple of things. One, you're looking for is the high price, is it selling more at the higher price or more at the lower price? So that's that top. What is Amazon selling? You want to see it hanging out, like this one's hanging out at $80, so that's a good sign. The second thing Grant's looking for is down here in the bottom graph, you're seeing the offer count. Every time that moves, that's showing velocity. So you like to see variation down there. You'd prefer that over like a flat line with sellers, and then you're coming over to RevSeller and looking deeper into it.
Yeah, the other thing you can do, like this doesn't have this listing as a whole doesn't have a lot of ratings, but let's say it had like a few hundred maybe. Then I could open up the RevSeller, categorize by, or find that variation that I'm thinking about buying, and go, and how many reviews has this variation brought in compared to the other variations? And that can help me determine, is this like one of the better variations on size and color, or is it one of the weaker variations based on the review count? So that's another way to look.
Okay. Cool. Jason Ross had a question about the liquidation. Do you only use eBay to liquidate, or do you ever look for Amazon to eBay flips?
Amazon to eBay flips. That's an interesting question. I haven't done that. My process is buy inventory, sell it on Amazon. If that doesn't work and I have to remove it from Amazon because of restrictions, because of changes on Amazon's system, or because the inventory is unfulfillable, I remove it, or because it hasn't sold after a year, then I will bring it back to my facility and we will list it. We will compare what it looks like on Amazon. Now, generally, if it's clothing and shoes, it's going on eBay. I'll compare it to what it's doing on eBay and what other people have maybe sold that item or are listing that item, what the price is that they're listing it at on eBay. If I think that I can at least capture back most of my cost of goods sold, I will list it on eBay and sell it. If that's not going to work, and usually, again, if it's clothing and shoes, it's eBay all the way. Very rarely will it get to the third step. And that's where I anything that's scratched and damaged or too cheap and it can't be resold on eBay to capture back cost of goods, it goes into boxes or on a top shelf in my facility. And we just wait until it's built up for about 6 months to a year. And we run a big old yard sale, and we generate like $1,500 a year just doing yard sales. And people love it because we hook them up and they get great prices. Our community really appreciates it. We actually literally do. This next one will be like the 5th annual firelight garage sale, and if people come and they're like, "What's up?" They recognize this because they know this is the hot yard sale of the season.
This yard sale's got new products. It's a yard sale unlike any other. We weren't planning. That's a good. Thank you for talking about that, Grant. You kind of shared the back end. That's the back end of your business. So your model, you sell everything on Amazon because they do you guys do mostly FBA too, right? You do
99.9%
FBA. You're leveraging the machine. I mean, there's a multi-billion-dollar machine called Amazon FBA. You guys have access to it for the same $40 a month that we do. So You're doing that, and then you are liquidating on eBay, and then you're liquidating on yard sales just for cash. So cool, man. So that is the 7 steps, how to use Keepa.com sourcing. You guys, this is a skill, so you can practice that. And if that looks like a bunch of work and you're like, wow, that looks like way more complicated than I thought, and you kind of lost me at Keepa Graph and RevSeller, that's okay too. You don't have to be in the weeds doing this stuff. As a business owner, we want to teach you guys the manual day. There's an easy way to do this, and you can create leverage. So you can do flips the easy way with our brand spanking new OA Cheddar Flips group that publishes real-time Amazon to Amazon flips daily. And it's Monday through Friday, sometimes on the weekends. And this is how you create leverage. So if you're new to building and growing and scaling, it's very easy for you to be the solo entrepreneur in the early days of this business. But if you want to grow and scale, you've got to hire a team. You've got to leverage other people. And if you don't have a big team, we want to let you borrow our team. We have a full-time staff that's harvesting flips every single day. Grant, I want to talk about the categories, but I want to go through here and show you guys some Amazon to Amazon flip leads that are straight from our new OA Cheddar Flips group. So we'll show you guys the end product. And Grant, would it be easier if I just go over there? And we'll talk about how this is going to work. We have 55 plus sellers. The reason there's a few more is we have our team in here posting the leads. So 55 sellers plus our team in this group. And we're going to offer first come opportunity to stay in this group to beta members. And then if there's any spots left over, we'll open it up to the main Cheddar and you guys can grab those up this Friday. So this is what the group looks like. And the delivery on these leads, I'm just going to scroll through and show you guys some real-time leads and how these leads are delivered, is a little different than our normal OA Cheddar. And typical Cheddar, you guys get an email and we do that. That way you can have all your leads in one space. You guys can pull those up. You can save those spreadsheets. And look, I see Jay Price is on the webinar, is already requested to join. So you gotta hang out. We've been getting requests for this group. I think we're showing up in search or something, Grant. We've had probably 3 or 4 sellers a day request to join, and we've capped this group at 55 for now. So as we find these leads, our team is posting them, and you'll see a post notification just like this. And we give you the name of the product. We give you the ASIN right here at top. We give you the color, if there's any variations, and then the important data, we give you the Amazon link. So here's the direct link to this product on Amazon. And then we also give you a direct link to the Keepa graph. If you're doing it, and you can pull both of these up on either desktop or mobile, so they work on both. And then the real data, though, Grant, is here in the pictures. Right. So you've got a picture of the product here. We give you the RevSeller data here. This tells you the profitability. So net profit on this one of $5.03. Got a 65% ROI and a 27% margin. And then we also show you the Keepa graph. So I am curious though, first, Grant, what are you looking for when you're sourcing through these? Are you looking for a net profit? Are you looking for the ROI? Are you paying attention to the margin? What's most important for you guys when you source these?
I mean, I like to see a $10 or higher net profit, but that doesn't mean I buy leads like this with a $5 profit with RA all the time. One thing I will tell you is that the sell price is based on the Amazon's 90-day average. So a lot of other groups or other people who sell Amazon flip leads, they'll report, the most recent Amazon price compared to what it's selling at now. Right. Well, if they're averaging at $70 and the most recent price was $90, then it's going to look a lot prettier when their lead is posted to their group or whatever they're doing. Right. Whereas we're pulling off the 90-day average. If it doesn't look good based off the 90-day average, then we're not going to share it. But yeah, I think, to be honest with you, the first thing I look at I look at the Keepa graph. I mean, I could pretty much, I've looked at so many graphs, thousands and thousands and thousands of different graphs, that when I look at a graph, I can pretty much determine if I want to investigate further. Then I'm going to go over to the RevSeller and probably determine, whether I like the profitability and stuff like that.
So you're looking at the Keepa graph first. This one, we see the price is hanging out here around $18, $19 for the majority of the time. Here's a drop here, and then here's the most recent drop. So this is actually the biggest drop that this product has had since June. So past 90 days. We see the offer count here moving, and this is a picture. So you won't, if it was when you click through to the actual RevSeller, which I don't think I have RevSeller installed here on this computer, you'll see it actually change.
Get more historical data at the bottom on Keepa.
What's that?
On Keepa, if you click more historical data, you'll get on the bottom right there. That'll give you your other graph. Now click new offer count right there on that one. Okay, you're not logged in, so we can deal with that later. Hey, you guys, Keepa is a paid service now. If you want to see offer count data, you have to pay the monthly subscription. It comes to about $17 a month. So that's a good thing to kind of add to this video. Something I'll note though, on this graph, okay, this is something I'm thinking about is what are third-party sellers maybe doing in order to compete with Amazon? And you can maybe figure that out by watching how third-party pricing compares to Amazon pricing. If you see third-party offer pricing dropping, and maybe Amazon does or doesn't, in this case, Amazon followed them down or vice versa. I'm looking at like around August 16th. When you see that price drop, that's possible. It's possible. You got to think this in your mind. Maybe a third-party seller dropped the price there so they could compete with Amazon and get their inventory unloaded, right? So I'm always looking at that going, okay, sure. I'm maybe I compete with Amazon at $19, but what if I have to drop down to $15? Can I still make enough profit, worst case scenario, to make it worth me buying this product? So that's when you're going to be, playing around with your rev seller calculator more on Amazon to make a little bit more of a determination.
So rev seller here on Amazon, and then the Keepa did switch to a paid service. You'll want to have both of those. So let's just flip through and see what we have at a high level. So Grant, you said the first thing you're looking at is the grant. You're looking right here at the net. So that's the first thing that I look at. So, how juicy is this? I mean, this one's got 114% ROI. Mm-hmm. It's a dress. Dresses are like shoes. They're very specific. If you are looking for a certain dress and you can't get it, that's why they're looking online. So 90-day average, $48, which is what we've got listed here. And then let's go to the Keepa graph here. And same thing, we see consistent price here, $48. And you see a little variation. So anything else that's jumping out to you about this?
I think that's exactly what you're seeing. Those little variations are good indicators. You can even see, where I think that purple box up there on the top right of the Keepa graph, I believe that's an indicator of third-party FBA offer, if I'm remembering correctly, or it's the triangles. I can't remember. But anyway, you can see where they went out of stock. And so you're seeing that right there, that little tiny blue spot, that's Amazon. That's a third-party seller coming in stock and moving inventory right there alongside of Amazon. That's a really good sign. The other thing I noticed on this post inside the Facebook group is that this is a fits as expected of 83%. So it's got a kind of generally a higher fits as expected rate. You can see it right there. So those are all, to me, that's all looking pretty attractive. Now, it might be a slow mover. I probably wouldn't buy more than one or two of these items, especially if I'm on a limited budget, want to be very selective.
So this is $16. It looks like 5 are in stock on this. So that's why you're going shallow. Mm-hmm. Amazon only lets me order 3 if you were doing this. So, okay, cool. So this is another lead. So let me go ahead and go down here to a third one. By the way, how do you guys like the new header? You guys weren't even in the old header. We had an old header. How do you like the shiny new Cheddar?
Looks good.
I posted in the group, and the feedback, the beta member says it looks cheesy. And so I'm like, cool. If it's cheesy, then it's a part of our brand. So we want to help separate it. And so one of the things you can do once you're in this group is you want to set your notifications to all posts. Yep. That way you get notified on your mobile phone. And depending on if you have settings on Facebook turned on, or like for me, for example, I keep my Facebook settings off, but once I sign into Facebook, you'll be notified that there's leads. And then you can also bookmark this to your shortcuts over here. Mm-hmm. So I've got our main OA Cheddar group right here. I've got our Cheddar Flips group right underneath it. And then so all the groups that you're a part of, you can do that. And I think you go here to more, and then you go here to pinned to shortcuts. So this is just in advance for those of you guys that take advantage of our offer on Friday. You'll want to do those two things. Turn your notifications on to all posts. And for those of you that are already in beta, do this. And then go to more and click on pin to shortcuts so that it'll show up right over here. And then if you want to toggle back and forth between the main group and the flips group, you can do that very easy. So, and I see some other people are joining before the webinar, so that's cool. So let's go through one more lead here and show you guys. This is the final, and this is real time here. Let's see what we got on this one. So this guy, I see a $44 net profit. So a specialty dress shoe, 90-day average of $213. So that seems high to me, just thinking as a shoe cost right off the bat. But 35% ROI. So ROI is nothing fancy. Margin is nothing fancy. Let's look at the Keepa graphs, Grant. And what are you noticing about the Keepa graphs? It's like the price fluctuates quite a bit here.
Yeah, this isn't my favorite, probably because you are seeing the price changing and you are seeing the offer count. And those are good signs. But for me, where I'm at, this would be a high risk lead because of the purchase price. I'm putting a lot of money on the table to make this profit. I would get a little concerned. Let me put it this way. I would rather buy 3 items for $30 than, and to make a profit and even 3 of the same item for $30 to make a 35% ROI, rather than buy 1 item for $125 to make a 35% ROI. You're just kind of putting a lot of risk on one single item. Doesn't mean that this isn't a good flip for a different kind of seller, but that's something I'm noticing that would scare me away a little bit.
Right. So that's a reason to disqualify this one. If you're the right kind of seller, this is a great flip. It's higher. A lot of sellers are going to pass on this one because of the price. So you can discredit that if you don't have it on a limited budget. And I will also say this, because there's sellers in our group that only focus on expensive inventory because there's a lot less competition. So we can't make that decision for you. We can publish these leads and really what this group is doing. So let's see, this was 2 hours ago. This other lead was 1 hour ago, and this lead was 14 minutes ago. So real time, like as our team is harvesting these, we're publishing these for you guys because of the limited availability. And we're taking all that manual labor out of the process for you and just spoon feeding you real-time leads to make this process easy for you. So let me go back to our fancy presentation. So that was the live demo straight from the brand new OA Cheddar Flips group. And this is the time, if you're pumped about flips and you want the easy path, if you guys want to do the manual path, take what you've learned today, implement it, put the time in. This can be a part-time or full-time job. If you already have a full-time job and or you're out and you want to focus on growing and scaling your company and not doing research, which we would recommend, then you're going to love the new OA Cheddar Flips group. This is going to be 7 to 10 live real-time Amazon to Amazon flip leads posted daily. So as we get them, you guys get them fresh off the press. We did the math. This is about 75 cents a lead. So if your time is worth more than 75 cents a lead, which I hope you're about 20, 30, 40, 50 times. I hope you think of your time as $100 plus an hour, because you should, $200 an hour plus, then you're going to love this. We focus in clothing, shoes, jewelry. Now I want to address this, Grant, because this question came up in the group. How come there's all these other categories and somebody could do searches in all those other categories? How come we are focusing on clothing, shoes, and jewelry and aren't able to find as many good leads in the other categories?
Yeah, that's just Amazon. I think it's because with the amount of variations, color variations, and size variations you see in clothing, there's such there's so many more individual ASINs with clothing and shoes. That's also why we see more leads maybe in the sports and outdoors category for that same reason. But these are just way big, massive categories with a lot of different scenarios. Whereas like toys, for example, you're looking at a listing, it's got 1 item on it. There's rarely ever variations on it. So really we're heavy in those categories because that's where Amazon is really focusing their flips on and their price drops at.
This is where the majority of stuff lives. So like all of our lists, now this is a big, this really makes unique what we're doing, because there are other flips lists on the market that have as many as 100 plus sellers in the group. And we care about you guys. You're our first priority. So even though we could offer 100 spots and we'd probably fill those up, we want to cap it at 55, just like all of our lists. And this protects you, the seller, from oversaturation to any lead that gets published. And because these are real time, like Grant said, oftentimes this will sell out in a couple hours and not even all 55 sellers in the group will see it. You may have a handful of competitors. And if you're only doing 1, 2s, and 3s, you're going wide, you're going to limit your risk on many different fronts for that. So price of the list, we're keeping it consistent with our other list. This is easily a $200 a month service. Easily. This could probably be several $100 a month service for the amount of time. If you are to hire your own VA and train them and have them work for you, it'll probably pay upwards of 4, 5, 6 with the software, $700, $800 a month to run your flip system. You're welcome to do that, and or you can choose the easy button, $149 a month. We want to make this super easy and affordable for you guys to be able to knock the ball off the cover. That's our goal. That's why we keep our lead cost down to 75 cents. I've been noticing, Grant, the last list release we did on list 4 sold out very quickly within the first day. Very quickly. And this one, we've already had 55 of you beta testing it. So we expect this one to do the same. So no pressure either way. We want to give you guys freedom. This is not for everybody too. Don't feel like you have to do this. I will ask Grant, who do you think who is this good for? What type of OA seller are flips a good addition?
I personally think that it's good for everybody. I think someone could actually build a full Amazon store off of this. I think that where a seller could, I think an advanced seller who really understands Keepa already, obviously, and I think this is the case with, it doesn't matter what lead you're looking at, right? If you're the more advanced, more experienced you are, the easier it's going to be, the more you're going to understand what you're doing. So don't shy away because you're new. If you're new, this is what I tell you. This is a good product opportunity for you, but very, very much focus on the best flips and only go 1 to 2 deep while you figure it out. Okay, that'll help you cast a wide net. Again, you're going to be competing with Amazon, so you're not going to be pulling as many sales as normal that you'd see on a traditional lead where Amazon's not a competitor. But I think that where I see more sellers doing this is the ones with big budgets, right? The ones that are casting a massive store, they're filling up a store with thousands of SKUs, and they're casting a very wide net. But again, I think it's good for everybody. You just have to understand where you are and work within your means.
Yeah. So cool. Well, we like to be transparent. This is great if you're an OA seller. If you're already on Cheddar 1, 2, 3, and 4, and you're one of those people that message us each month saying, "Hey guys, when's your new list coming out?" And there's a handful of you guys that do this. This is for you guys. And if you're a new seller, I mean, it's a great opportunity. Like Grant said, I don't want to shy you away from it. It's a niche strategy, but you got to treat it like a niche business. You got to treat flips differently and be super selective. So,
well, and I'll just add, it's the price. I mean, it's $149 for you to learn something new that could make you, hundreds of thousands of dollars in the years to come. Right. So if you're not afraid to spend $149 to learn and to explore, and to see how, to see this strategy firsthand on the inside, then that's good. This is a good opportunity for you. If spending $149 a month scares the hell out of you, you may not even be in the right business in general, right? You may need to get a job. I mean, let's just be honest. And so,
like it is.
I mean, if I was charging you $500 a month, I think this service could be worth $200, $300, $400 a month easily. Then I would convince you otherwise. But we're charging $149 a month, you guys. Most of you paying more than that for your phone, right? So your phone bill, So let's just call it what it is.
True. I didn't think about that. Okay. It's a difference of thinking of how it's investing in your business. It's an investment in your business, and it's an investment that gets you time, which are the best investments. Investments that bring you time and money is even better, which is technically what this is. Clay Sewell, just to be clear, if I have a non-Prime account buying accounts with the same email address as my seller account, would that be okay? So this is the question, Grant, of should I have the same email address for my 2 accounts or a different one? And there's 2 different schools. Right. Some people will tell you to have a separate account. Grant, you guys have the same email and it works for you. So we don't know the answer to that. If you want to be super safe, maybe set up a separate email. I wouldn't be afraid of the big bad wolf. Grant, you guys have never had problem. You guys also have a seasons account. I don't know if that has anything to do with it. But
it probably helps. Out of that. I did my first flips probably 3 years ago, maybe even 4 years ago. And it's always been set up the same way. I've always used the same business account that has the exact same email attached to it as I do with my seller account. I never, ever purchase a flip with Prime. We'll just reiterate that. We never purchase a flip with Prime account.
I'll see a question here in the Zoom chat, and then we'll go over closing thoughts. Grant, we can wrap up here. Monica Thomas says, do you suggest having OA experience first before joining flips? So from the perspective of a brand new person, how would you advise a brand new seller presented with the opportunity?
Boy, it depends. I mean, that's a loaded question because I don't know what the age of your account is and stuff like that. And if you approved to sell a lot of different brands. I think that for me, right, and again, this is just the way I operate. So you're asking, you're going to get my opinion. Jump in and figure out what does and doesn't work. If it doesn't work, jump out and come back later until you feel like it's going to work again. So again, there's a lot of questions to ask Monica about her account and what she's working with right now. But you're not going to get experienced without experimenting, right? So yes, get in the group and experiment. If you find that you're restricted on most of the brands, if you find that you don't like flips or, maybe the inventory doesn't move quick enough for your goals, stuff like that, then go try a different strategy. But you have to experiment. You have to jump in and get your feet wet to figure out if you're going to be successful in this particular strategy. So
Yep. I'll say this. So we've made this clear. This is a great strategy for advanced sellers. So if you're an advanced seller or you know your way around Amazon, this is a great niche strategy because there's a lot less direct competition. If you're a new seller, we don't like to be the kind of people that say don't try something, because you could certainly learn this. You could build a practice exclusively around flips if you wanted to. I will say that with like our traditional OA cheddar, so you're going to see a less average order value. There'll be less meat on the bone with typical OA, but typically a lot more competition. These flips, you're going very wide, so it's just a different strategy. You've got to make those decisions for yourself. So if you guys are watching the replay, be sure to drop a comment below of what you learned from today and what you're most excited about. And Grant, I'm stoked to be able to open this to the community. And I think we have successfully let the cat out of the bag. From some of you that have been, doing this strategy for years, we let the cat out of the bag, at least to the Cheddar group. So you guys are part of the inner circle. I mean, there's like hundreds of thousands of Amazon sellers. I've seen stats, like hundreds of thousands of Amazon sellers from retail arbitrage, online arbitrage. So our group is like a little sliver of the industry, and we like to hook you guys up and keep you sharp, which is why we do this. And if you guys like this training today and you'd like more trainings like this, be sure to comment on the video as well and let us know. Let's see here. Last question here, and then we'll wrap up. Jason Ross Grant says, what's the lowest fits as expected rate that you would go? Yeah. So we were talking earlier about the fits as expected. For you personally, what's the lowest you guys will entertain?
Yeah, I think, again, I would probably take a higher, so let's just say 70%. I think that's healthy. I was actually talking to someone else in the group recently, and that's what he's doing also. He likes to see 70% or higher. We haven't created a limit or a standard on fits as expected quite yet. We may in the future, but here's what I would tell you. I might fudge on the, going below a 70% fits as expected, depending on what the net return or our return on investment look like. If those figures or those stats are extremely high and there's a huge reward for making a sale on something that has, let's say, a 60% fits as expected, then I might consider taking that risk. And again, that just depends on budget, experience, level and stuff like that. It's a good question.
70%, but it really depends. And this is why you got to do your due diligence with it. So very cool, man. Well, this concludes our Amazon Flips 201 webinar. If you're watching this, maybe in the future on the YouTubes or somewhere, the 7 steps to use Keepa.com to source Amazon to Amazon Flips. We're going to be publishing this and more great content to YouTube. So if you are watching the recording, make sure you hit the subscribe button. And quick plug, if you guys are in the group and you're watching this live and you are not subscribed on YouTube, head over to YouTube, type in OA Cheddar. You'll find our channel. Make sure you subscribe there. We have a lot of great content that goes out. And I'll give a little plug here. We don't talk about this too often, but we have a really inspiring Instagram channel popping right now. We've got a teammate who's been posting this religiously. So if you guys are not following us yet on the gram, make sure to look up OA Cheddar on Instagram for those of you guys that are on the gram, and follow us there as well so that we can find you and follow you back. And I'm a big fan of Instagram. It's a lot of fun. So that's our little plug for today. And then as always, if you are watching the recording in the future sometime, because this opening is going to come and go, you'll be able to go to oacheddar.com. Just find the flips button on that page, which we will create. And if we do have any spots, just like with all of our lists, we will be publishing any openings that happen, which is rare. I'm noticing, Grant, these days, it's very unique that we have 1 or 2 spots maybe open on a list, and it just kind of fluctuates. So for the most part, we're sold out, and we're very happy with that and grateful for you guys taking action on it. And so that's where that will be found. So G, thanks for the wisdom today, man. I appreciate you helping to put this content together. And any closing thoughts, bro?
No, man. Thank you for your contributions as well. And we just love our customers. We're very grateful and hope that you guys have a great rest of the week. And we'll see you on Friday when the flips open. I'm excited. It'll be fun.
Awesome. Friday it is, y'all. Have a great day. We'll see you in the group.
Bye.
Easy out there, folks.